Hey guys, Matt Donald here. It's late. It's so late. It's like 2 in the morning, and having to record this message for the Paleobites Patreon has interfered with my usual bout of lying in bed and perusing TikTok while waiting for my pills to kick in. But the money, the vast quantities of wealth I get from this show beckons like the seductive sirens it is. So here I am recording this message about the Paleobites Patreon. You know, that money, I want more of it, please. So subscribe to my Patreon at patreon.com/MatthewDonald. There you can find bonus episodes for Paleobites, and you can also get ad-free versions of the show now that the show has ads. Now, like I said, money. Have you seen stuff up there? It's expensive. Gotta hustle, you know? Gotta swindle. Anyways, yeah, so subscribe to my Patreon for bonus episodes of Paleobites, for ad-free versions of the show, and just to show your support, you know, just show that you're a nice guy or gal or non-binary pal. Just help a brother out, man. This crap's hard. Oh yeah, as for what we're talking about for the bonus episode, I don't know.
Roar, growl, snarl, bellow.
Welcome to Paleobites, the podcast that, like our perception of Dinosaurus, thinks it slaps, but is actually slop. My name is Matthew Donald, and each week I and a rotating series of guest co-hosts talk about and rate a different genus of prehistoric animal, be it dinosaur, mammal, arthropod, and so on. This week I'm joined with someone who actually does slap. It's Alan Brooks. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am also doing good. I survived a horrific animal attack that I needed outside help. I needed to call animal control to deal with it. I'm making this sound way more badass than it actually
is. It was a spider.
it was a spider that in the middle of the last episode I had to get my mom to come and
stopped him in the middle of a rant. And it was such an interesting rant. It was one of those, you know, you have a teacher who's really passionate about something and they start ranting about something and he's like, oh, a spider. And I'm like, forget the spider, keep going.
I'm so invested, but it's like, no, I had to get this. Well, look, to be fair, I'm actually pretty good at getting spiders myself. The problem with this spider is that it was really high up, and I'm good at getting spiders if they're at my level. But if they're really high up, I have to either throw things at it or like poke things at it. And I've had some experiences of spiders leaping off of it when I tried that before. And as someone with arachnophobia, that has scared me crapless. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to get my mom to get a broom and she'll take care of it. Because I lived in an apartment on my own for a while. So I had to get used to killing spiders on my own. But also, I live in Colorado, so these are like useless little house spiders. These aren't even like, out of all the spiders in the world, Colorado is like the best place for them if you're arachnophobic. There's not very many. There's nothing here like Texas or probably even where you are because you're in a place that's more wet. What are the spiders like where you live?
There are spiders, yeah, but they're not. I mean, we have outdoor spiders, but spiders indoors are. Yeah, we got the European bigger spiders, but they're not always super big.
I haven't looked this up because if I look this up, I have to look at pictures, and I'm so arachnophobic that even pictures freak me out. But apparently, what we have often here in Colorado is called European house spiders. So the ones outside, we can get some black widows and brown recluses, but those are very rare. And look, I'm not afraid of spiders. I should say I am creeped out by spiders because I'm not afraid of my life. I know they're not going to hurt me. My dad does not understand that. My dad is like, it's so little, it's not going to hurt you at all. It's more scared of you than you are of it. And I'm like, no, that's not my problem. I'm disturbed by how they look and how they move. I know it's not going to hurt me, but something about it just makes my brain scream wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to
on that level now, let's talk about a creature that is like probably the least scary animal in existence. I doubt there is a fear. Look, maybe I could be surprised. Maybe there's like fear of this kind of creature. We're talking about Camelops, aka camel face. That's what it means.
That's literally what it means, camel face. That is so uncreative.
It's like a G-rated insult, though. You stupid, stinky camel face.
It totally is. But yes, Camelops. Give us the stats on that, Matt.
Okay, I was going to give the stats. I was going to look up if there's a fear of camels. I'll do that later. And what the fear of camels
later in your free time.
But the listeners might want to know. But okay, until then, type it's a camel.
It's literally a camel. It's like, that should not be a surprise.
You've seen the camel, like, I can't even be, like artiodactyls is probably the most fancy thing I could say, which are the animals with two-toed hooves, but also includes whales, which is weird. If you look up artiodactyl on Wikipedia, you can see they have the pictures of giraffes, bison, camels, pigs, deer, and then there's an orca there.
Ooh, weird. Okay. So camels
you
are
and I
related to whales.
Not elephants. Elephants are afrotheres. They're a different thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So that's okay.
Whales.
Yeah, and hippos too. But no, like in the family, the family is Camelidae. The subfamily is Cameline. The tribe is Camelini. It's all camels.
That's all camels.
Size, it's 8 feet tall, or 2.5 meters, 2,200 pounds or 1,000 kilograms. So that's a bit bigger than a modern camel. Like, camels can get pretty tall, but like not this tall. It's not the biggest camel. The biggest camel we have, I looked this up. It was Titanotilopus. But that one could get like 10 feet tall. And also I should mention, because mammals are weird, and not mammals aren't weird, people classify mammals are weird. We like to see how tall these things are by the shoulder. I'm assuming because of horses and horseback riding.
Partially,
so
and
most
also
mammals,
because that's less likely to vary. Because,
but you don't do that for any other creature.
The head can go up and down and up and down and up and down.
But the thing is, that really irritates me, because we don't do that for any other creature. We don't do it for dinosaurs. We don't do it for crocodile. I mean, obviously crocodiles make sense. They're all pretty flat. But no. So yeah. So this is 8 foot tall at the shoulder, I should say. So that actually adds a whole other can of worms to it. So like that.
This is a big thing.
Yeah. Of course, camels on their own are quite big. Like, I went to the Renaissance Fair not too long ago, and as well as horses you could ride there, you could also ride a camel there. Oh my God, you forget how big you see them in movies like The Mummy or whatever. You're like, oh, they're riding the camels. Camels are enormous.
Camels are enormous.
Diet herbivore. Again, it's a camel.
We're
I cannot stress enough how much of a camel this thing is. How Camelops the camel face is a camel. So,
shock and surprise.
Time mid-Pliocene to late Pleistocene, 3.2 to 13,000 years ago. We lost a lot of good creatures at the start of the Holocene. Damn humans, or damn climate change. Back then, they weren't the same thing, which is unfortunately not the case now, alas.
No.
So, location, all over North and Central America, ranging from Alaska to Honduras. If a camel in North America seems weird to think about, wait till you learn that North America is where the family first evolved. Like, that's why llamas, which are also in the same family, they're not camel. They're like llamas and alpacas and guanacos. They're all camelids, but they live in North America. It's because camelids evolved in North America, and they only migrated to Africa and Asia, and then to the Ice Age, and they were stuck there. So how about that?
Yeah, camels originally came from America, so you could say camels are an ancient American export.
Absolutely. Indeed. Indeed. One of the most ancient, in fact, other than maybe tyrannosaurs, I guess. Or wait, no, those started in Asia. I don't know. Something else. I don't know. But just 20,000 years ago here in North America, we had camels, we had elephants, we had lions, we had cheetahs. North America was like Africa. Like, it was crazy. We even had rhino-like creatures, I believe. I'm actually 100% sure about that.
Those may have been more ancient, but man, that is so crazy that America was Africa.
Like, not even that long ago. Like,
again, we're talking about 13,000 years ago. 13,000? Am I getting that right? Was the last?
Yeah, that's when it died.
Yeah, 13,000 years ago. So this thing was very much met humans. That's actually a good question, Matt. This is very much a tangential question. If it had not gone extinct at the start of the remind me of what it was of that it ended
the Pleistocene, at the start of the Holocene. It died a little bit before the Holocene.
Yeah, if it didn't end at the Holocene, do you think it would have been possible for it to be domesticated like the camels were in the old world?
Possibly. I mean, because where did horses come from?
Horses originated in Eurasia. or at least
like, I'm not talking about
the
horse. I'm not talking about the horse family. I'm talking about modern horses. Where were they? Because the Native Americans didn't really have. When the Europeans came, they brought over horses, and the Native Americans were like, what is this? But then some of them, like the Sioux, were really good at becoming horse tribes. So I go with the people of the horses.
Gonna have to look that up.
I will have to look that up at another time. I'll add it to the list after I find out what the fear of camels is. Described in 1854, pop culture appearances, none that I could find. I at first thought it was the giant camel in Zoo Tycoon 2, Extinct Animals, but it turns out that was the aforementioned Titanotilopus.
Of course they chose the biggest. Of course they chose the biggest. Why am I not surprised?
Oh my god, and that one was so big. It was bigger than a T-Rex. The scale in that game was out of whack.
Yeah, that's not fun.
It's not that the T-Rex was particularly. It's not that the camel was big. Although the camel was way too big in that game, and the T-Rex was way too small in that game. So, yeah, Camelops. It's a giant camel. What more can you say about
that? Have existed in America. Okay, remind me again. So it first appeared in the middle of the Pliocene.
Yep, 3.2 million years ago.
3.2 million years ago, and then it ended 13,000 years ago. And it had a wide range. Now, what was this thing? Was this thing a browser or a grazer?
Well, modern camels tend to be grazers, right? Or no, I guess they're in the desert, so they browse like the hardy desert bushes, right? So I guess they're browsers, right? I feel bad that I don't know
so,
this.
Yeah. And I'm just like, what was Camelops? Was Camelops a browser or a grazer? Actually, best way to look at this is look at the skull.
Oh, hold on. It says here, plant remains found in the teeth of the Rancho La Brea. So the La Brea tar pits.
Okay.
The fossil there further revealed that rather than being limited to grazing, this species likely ate mixed species of plants, including coarse shrubs growing in coastal Southern California. Yeah, if you know the La Brea tar pits, that's in like Los Angeles, kind of Pasadena area. So the modern, this is a modern plant, creosote bush from the U.S.-Mexico border has been speculated to be creosote bush was speculated to be part of Camelops' diet. No living ungulate in the area consumes it, although it was regularly consumed by the Arabian camels of the experimental United States Camel Corps in the mid-19th century. What the hell? We had a Camel Corps.
That's wild. Another thing that we don't know about Camelops is, did it have a hump? Now, the aforementioned Titanotilopus did have a hump. I looked that one up.
Yes.
That one did have a hump. We know this due to long neural spines on its thoracic vertebrae. So basically it had long, tall spines on its back that would have supported a hump. There doesn't seem to be the same thing on Camelops.
But except the hump in camels aren't spines, though.
It would be helpful for the spine to have some form of support, I believe. Just kind of a little bit.
I guess that's true, yeah.
Yes.
I guess that's true, yeah. So
we don't know if it did.
I'm assuming it didn't, because I feel like isn't the hump useful for like keeping food? Like
it's basically
a backpack
a long-term
of food.
fat storage for long duration thing. Now it does say that this thing could have traveled long periods of time, and we do have evidence that this thing was preyed upon by humans.
Oh, we do have evidence for that. I wasn't sure, because like 13,000 years ago, that's like just when humans first went to North America.
Yeah,
so
it is very small, however.
Okay, yeah. So, I'm sorry, I just looked up the United States Camel Corps. Apparently, it was a mid-19th century experiment by the United States Army in using camels as pack animals in the southwestern United States. The Civil War interfered with the experiment, which was eventually abandoned. The animals were sold at auction. That's a shame.
That's a shame.
Anyways, good history fact. We had a Camel Corps here in the U.S.
Things you learn.
So, I know. So, also this thing had longer legs in the dromedary is what it says, but I wonder if they're proportionately longer, or just longer overall because it was bigger. Because the thing about long legs in the desert is that's really good for able to dump heat and also to walk through sand. Like long legs are great desert adaptation. So the fact that this one had longer legs is interesting.
Okay.
Although, again, it's not necessarily like if you have long legs, you must live in the desert. Like a giraffe obviously isn't a desert animal and has really long legs.
But long legs do help as a way to keep yourself to travel long distances in a desert. especially being able to keep yourself away from the hot ground sort of thing, and perhaps more surface area for getting rid of heat. But yeah, do you think that this animal, if it hadn't been going extinct when it did, could Native Americans have domesticated this thing?
That would be really cool. Like if like the Spanish or whatever came in on their horses, while the Native Americans came in on their camels.
Yeah,
and then like we have
very different things. Yeah. It would have created a much broader travel range in wide open areas, especially since this thing was a grazer and browser, which, quite frankly, would have allowed it very good success.
Well, and the thing is, like, that would have actually been pretty useful. That'd be an interesting alternate world to hypothesize, because if you, I learned some anthropology in the Guns, Germs, and Steel, which is a really good book that I saw a documentary about. And one of the things that argued why the Europeans got so much more technologically advanced than the Americans is because of one of the reasons was because there were so many more domesticated animals able to be domesticated in the old world versus the new world. In the old world, you had cows, horses, pigs, sheep, goats, so many. But in the Americas, you just had the llamas and the alpacas.
Okay.
So if you had camels in the mix, that would be, because you can't really ride a llama. I mean, you probably could, but I wouldn't like it.
It wouldn't work very well. But a camel, we know people ride camels, and that would have been a very big thing. Also, it sounds like during the time that the Camelops existed, there also perhaps were, surrounding the same time, there would have been horses in America.
Yeah, because I was talking about like horses. Yeah, the Native Americans didn't really know horses, but that's because the modern horse, or the early modern horse, just barely prehistoric horse, had gone extinct in the Holocene, and it wasn't until the Europeans brought over horses that they really knew about them. But there were horses in North America 13,000 years ago, for sure. Yes, so they went extinct then, but didn't go extinct in the old world. So
interesting. Maybe you should start a series talking about different extinctions and start trying to figure out why certain species went extinct while others didn't.
Well, the thing is, the extinctions of the Holocene are very interesting because so many different creatures went extinct, and it can't all be due to humans.
Yeah, it can't all be due to humans. And
at the same time, the Ice Age ended. So that's probably a lot of it. That the animals that were
rapid climate change would screw with species.
But then I've also heard there were different fluctuations, and some people theorize that rather than the Ice Age ending, we're just in another one of those warm periods, and it's going to eventually come back. But it also could be the Ice Age ended, so I don't know. But the fact is, this was clearly a much greater change than most animals could deal with, because again, it wiped out all these creatures when the other previous fluctuations of hot and cold didn't. So
yeah, the humans were not the exclusive reason on why all of the species went extinct. I mean,
yeah, no, they were not. And most of them, I don't even know if most of them we could have. Some of them we could have, but because
one
humans
of them that
obviously
everyone agrees on that humans did not was the short-faced bear. They look at that and we're like, there is no evidence that humans caused the short-faced bear to go extinct.
Absolutely. Because we were hunter-gatherers then. We were basically just we didn't get agriculture until a few thousand years into the Holocene, like 9,000 or 10,000 years ago. So what could we have done we couldn't really overhunt because we had no way to store food.
Yeah.
Once we were able to store food and store animals and to store people in the same place, and then the death rates went down, the birth rates went up, that's when we started really killing animals and really killing nature. But before then, I'm just not sure what we could have done. So, yeah. I mean, look, maybe I'm just trying to keep a clear conscience, but I don't think that the Holocene extinctions were our fault. Maybe not even in any way, but I could be wrong.
Could be wrong. It is,
and I'm not an expert on this.
In Camelops, they talk about an extinction. They disappeared. They are hypothesized to have disappeared as a result of, get this, the Blitzkrieg model, where when I open it up, they talk about the late Pleistocene extinctions.
Yes, I've heard of the Blitzkrieg model.
It sounds like this extinction was complicated, let's just call it that, because again, you had humans popping up, which humans are extremely good hunters, not that good hunters, as well as it was the end of the Ice Age, and things were just changing. In a lot of ways, it feels like. In a lot of ways, I'm just looking at it like. It explicitly says human use has yet to be completely proven as the sole cause of extinction of Camelops. So we probably did hunt Camelops, but there is no way that. But it is very much not proven that humans caused the extinction of Camelops.
For sure. So yeah, I definitely don't think we did. Also, before we go rate the animal, because I don't really know much more we can. I mean, it's a big camel. I mean, it's a big North American camel.
It's not super special, you know.
It's not as big as some other North American camels, but it's still kind of cool to talk about in terms of camel evolution. And by the way, I found out what the fear of camels it's called: camelophobia. Again, it's spelled a little bit differently, but it's the same thing. It's the same root word. It's camelophobia. It's not recognized as a full fear by psychology speaking, but there is a page for it on the phobia fandom wiki, which it says camelophobia is the fear of camels. And then my favorite thing here is like the comments here at the bottom. Wait, what is the symptom of camelophobia? And then another comment says, being afraid of camels, dumbass. Like.
It sounds pretty obvious.
I found that pretty amusing. Anyways, let's rate Camelops 1 out of 65 million. I'm going to rate it like a 5 or 6 million. I think it's only interesting in terms of talking about the evolution of camels as a whole, and the fact that we're camels in North America, and that camels
they started
as a whole
in North America.
North America. That's pretty cool. It has a funny name, Camel Face. That's very funny. Yeah. But other than that, it's just, I don't know. I mean, look, actually, maybe
I'm going to rate
harsh.
it only like 4.5 million because it had so much potential to cause a very drastic shift in the American culture by just continuing to exist. And all it did was it got hunted a little bit and then it went extinct.
It was just nope, I'm peacing out.
Yeah.
So I'll end this here. A bit of a fun tip for my fellow Age of Empires 2 players, because we were talking about what if the Native Americans had cavalry, like Camelops, perhaps. And so I thought this was relevant, and plus it's a fun little tip. That one, because it was true of historical times, the Aztecs, the Mayans, and the Incas, you can't get horses. You can't build stables in those games. And the tech tree for those. You played Age of Empires, right? Or did you never play Age of Empires?
I don't think I did.
So Age of Empires. So you normally it's rather than being like StarCraft where each faction has its own tech tree, they all have a shared tech tree, which is different things are only available to different factions, and some of them have unique techs and unique factions and unique units, but other than that they're all and then different looking buildings and that stuff too. But one of the things is that the Mesoamerican civilizations don't have access to stables, obviously. So rather than a scout cavalry, they have an eagle warrior, just a really, really fast infantry that has really good vision. But a fun little Easter egg that it does not tell you, it is not in the tech trees. So the monks, which are unit that every faction can get, you train them from the monastery, which either looks like a temple or a mosque or a church, a cathedral, depending on what you are, but it's the same thing gameplay wise. They can convert enemy units. They do the little woo-loo, and and then it turns a unit into your own side. There's a research you can get that only certain factions can get, where you can get it to convert buildings and siege weapons and ships. So if you are a Mesoamerican civilization and you use your monk to convert a stable, you get a special unit called a Xolotl Knight, which is the Mesoamerican cavalry unit. That's pretty much just a knight in terms of stats. But it has a cool sprite, and it's called a Xolotl Knight, like Xolotl Knight. Xolotl Knight. So that's a hidden little unit, and I remember having fun with this when I was playing, I think, Mayans, I believe, and I attacking these guys. I'm like, wait, army, trebuchets, leave the stables intact. I'm bringing in my monks. I'm coming in. I convert them, and my whole army is full of Xolotl Knights from that point on.
That's wild.
Imagine it if they were camels. Anyways, that's it for this week.
Do your spiel on social media, which I don't have. So you're gonna have to. So everyone, you're gonna have to contact Matt to get a hold of me.
If you want to contact. Yeah, if you have a question about D&D or some crap, I don't know, just contact me at palebytespodcast@gmail.com, and I'll relay any questions that you have toward Alan to him. Or you can find me on social media at palebytespod on Twitter and palebytespodcast anywhere else, or Matthewdon64 on Twitter and Instagram, or Matthewdon the Creator on Facebook. Yeah, that's it for this week. I'll see you at the end of every episode of Paleobites. That's the kind of noise that camels make, and they have terrible breath.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.